So welcome to our first ARDC National Skills Forum. Thank you everyone who's joining us online live. We're very excited to have you here and thanks for coming along. Our topic for today is the upcoming Research Bazaar events, or ResBaz for short. My name is Meirian, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very happy to be joined today by Macarena, as well as Juliana, who will be presenting their own Research Bazaar events that are coming up in Queensland and Victoria, respectively. Ellen is also on board. He'll be facilitating the Zoom call by sharing information in the Zoom chat. So Women Jika, or welcome. I want to start by acknowledging the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people and the Boonwurrung people, who are the traditional owners of the lands on which I live and work in Melbourne, or Naarm. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And I also recognise that we're joined by a large online audience today. Many of you will be coming from different lands. And so I encourage you to share that in the chat and pay my respects as well to Aboriginal elders of other communities joining us today. A quick note on some expectations for today's session. We do have a code of conduct. Thanks for sharing your countries in the chat. Essentially, the code of conduct just means that we want to make this a welcoming and inclusive space, and we expect you to act respectfully. This is not going to be a lecture. This is a forum for discussion. So please ask questions, join in at the appropriate time. You can also ask questions in the chat throughout our presentations. And if there are any unanswered questions, we'll endeavour to follow up after today as well. So why are we here? What is this event? This is the first National Skills Forum. It will be part of a series of events. And so the ARDC, which I am part of, or the Australian Research Data Commons, provides national research infrastructure that accelerates research and innovation. So the purpose of this forum is to shine a spotlight on the skills that researchers need in order to use national research infrastructure and to participate in a research data commons. So we'll be hosting these forums on a regular basis to bridge the gap between our annual ARDC Skills Summits. Many of you might have been to in the past, or this year's one at least. So we can continue the conversation and discuss important topics. Together, we hope to fuel the conversation in an open assembly of skills and training practitioners across Australia. So, what is the Research Bazaar, or ResBaz? Have you heard of it before? Well, I'd like to get a quick poll of our live audience today to see what your experience with ResBaz events is. So I've got two questions that should be appearing on the screen. The first one is asking, do you know what ResBaz is? And have you been to one? Responses to that question range from this is my first time hearing about ResBaz to I've been involved in organising a ResBaz. I'm not sure whether our hosts or co-hosts can respond to that. No, it looks like they can't, but we've got a couple of people on the call today who have been involved in organising a ResBaz, myself included as well. The second question asks, are you planning on going to one of our upcoming ResBaz events? So we've got ResBaz Queensland, ResBaz Vic, both coming up soon. So it's very exciting. I'll give you a little bit of time to respond. It looks like most of you have already, but I'll give you another 3 seconds to submit those answers. And let's take a look at the results. So it looks like a lot of you are either hearing for ResBaz for the first time, hearing about ResBaz for the first time, or you know what it is, but you haven't been to one before. So this is the perfect session for you to learn a little bit more. In response to our second question, a a lot of you are, again, wanting to learn more or not sure whether you can make it to these events yet. So we'll give you some more information that will help you make those decisions as well. I can also see that there are some people who have been more involved in ResBazzes, whether attending as a participant, volunteering or presenting, or again, there are a few people who responded that they've been involved in organising a ResBaz. So that would be interesting to hear your experiences as well. All right. So I'll give you a little bit of a brief history about ResBaz or the Research Bazaar. It originated at the University of Melbourne in 2014, with the first event taking place in 2015. So I am from the University of Melbourne, and I've been involved with Research Bazaar events there from about 2017 to 2020, at which point we had those lockdowns, and then we haven't had one in Melbourne for a little while since. Following the success in Melbourne, though, ResBaz has become an annual event, and it's grown in popularity very quickly, with other universities and institutions across Australia hosting their own events. ResBaz was originally conceived to address growing demand for researchers wanting to improve their skills in data science, programming, and computational research methods. Sorry, I'm just getting a little bit of background noise. The name Bazaar was inspired by the marketplace, or it means marketplace, and it's inspired by that festival-like environment that's created in marketplaces where there's an exchange of goods and services. But here, it refers to the nature of the event being collaborative, with sharing of knowledge, skills, and tools related to research. The annual event has historically been run by researchers, with researchers as the target audiences. So it is by researchers for researchers. It's very community focused and encourages collaboration and open knowledge sharing. ResBaz has always been fun and interactive, very lively environment with hands-on sessions, talks, workshops, and training, all designed to make research skills and tools more accessible. Over the years, ResBaz has expanded internationally, with events now organised in New Zealand, the UK, USA, Canada, and South Africa. And with this global event, again, we've got more events happening annually across Australia as well. And the first or the next upcoming ResBaz that you might be interested in is Queensland. And so I'm going to pass now on to Macca to tell you a little about ResBaz Queensland.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much, Meirian, for that lovely introduction. I really appreciate it. So yes, ResBaz Queensland is happening in 2 weeks, and it will be held from the 6th to the 7th of November at the Australian Catholic University Brisbane campus, so at Bazaar. As Meirian said, it is really a festival of digital research training, and we would hope to have as many researchers from all levels, all disciplines, have PhD candidates, research master students, early career researchers, research technologists, software engineers. We really want everyone who's involved in research to come to ResBaz Queensland. Also, government funded staff and students are mostly welcome. Next slide, please. This year, we are featuring really exciting key story speakers from different areas, from academia and also from government, and they'll be talking about different topics in the digital research practice. Some of the talks will be focused on the implementation and management of new technologies in the research practice. Others are going to be focused on future strategies that are in place for Queensland researchers, and others are focused on inspiring the next generation of researchers. Next slide, please. As for our workshops and our talks, there is a really broad selection of topics. We have some really exciting sessions on AI, on demystifying AI for research. We have sessions with QUT, with the Digital Observatory, which are really exciting. And large image diffusion models, on large language model programming and everything. So it's really exciting. We will also be featuring some crowd favorites, of course, like Introduction to Programming, Plotting, and Programming with Python. Those are Carpentry's ones. Statistical comparisons in R and Shiny, our Shiny Essentials as well. But there's also really new workshops like Make Your Code Go Fast Fast with Dr. Emily Carl from Porsi Supercomputing Center, and using the EcoCommons platform to run special distribution models with Dr. Jenna Wraith, Program Manager from EcoCommons, and also Introduction to Geospatial Data with R. But it's not just coding, of course. We also have workshops on how to support participation in research using design methods. We have talks on data communication, on personal branding for researchers, and academic writing tips without using AI. In terms of, I would really like to encourage everyone to take a look at the program and to register. The registration system is a two-step process. So first, we'll ask you to choose your sessions, and then you will be directed to Humanitics to complete your registration. You can always go back to that form and change your preferences as you prefer. So registration includes lunch for both days. It includes tea and coffee, fruit, nibbles, everything that you will need to sustain a long day, 2 long days of research. We will also have a social event on Thursday at the Naji Beach Hotel, and we really want to encourage everyone to come. In terms of what to bring a water bottle because it's hot in Brisbane. Bring your laptop. Adapters are really important, and bring your enthusiasm. So this year we're very lucky in Brisbane that we have 50-cent public transport fares. So there's really no excuse not to attend. But on that, we do understand that the cost of living problems are really an issue, and we certainly felt it this year. And for these reasons, we have limited volunteer tickets, but please do contact us if you're struggling, you have any problems, because we really want everyone to attend. And next slide. Yes. There you will find a QR code for the program, and you will find a QR code also for the registration. We also have social handles. So we have Mastodon this year, which is really exciting. We will be using Instagram, and we use LinkedIn as well. And we will hope to see you at ResBaz and only in 2 weeks, which is really exciting. So thank you.
Thank you, Maka. That is very soon and very exciting as well. A quick reminder to, if you have any questions, start typing them out in the chat or have a little think about any questions you might have to share after our next presentation by Juliana, who's talking to us about ResBaz Vic, also coming up soon.
Thank you, Meirian, and thank you all for joining us. This is very exciting. It's the first time that Monash University hosting ResBaz. So no pressure after Meirian mentioned that it was hosted by Melbourne Uni before COVID. So we saw the need of having this community event for researchers to bring communities together. There are certain disciplines and communities that have well-established communities, but there are other pockets here and there, and we thought this need. So that's why we got involved this year, and it's a 3-day event from November 26th to the 28th, so you still have a few weeks to register. It's happening at Clayton campus, the Learning and Teaching building. And yes, again, we stick to the ResBaz values, so we welcome researchers from all Australia, all disciplines at all levels, PhD candidates, students, research masters, early career researchers, research technologists, software engineer, anyone supporting research is welcome to the ResBaz conference. Next slide, Ellen, please. Thank you. So these are the main disciplines or topics that we are covering this year. We have a wonderful panel discussion around diversity and inclusion in research and digital platforms, genomics, bioinformatics, imaging and visualization, machine learning and AI. We know this is a big interest topic. Digital technologies for humanities, health and data management, but we are also having talks and hands-on workshops on cybersecurity, major initiatives in grant writing, as well as data governance, our intro to our Python for HPC, you name it. So the program is already live. If you scan the QR code, you will be able to see the program. We still have some sessions to be confirmed, but it's already there. So for us, the registration process is also a two-step process. It's never easy or straightforward, but it's a two-way process. We hope it works for everyone. We, as I said, it's our first time, so we learning as we go. So hopefully next year will be one step. But so you will register for the general admission, and then once you register and pay for the registration, you will be able to choose your preferred sessions. Just be aware that you cannot register for multiple sessions that are happening at the same time, of course. We don't want people walking out of the session in the middle of it and walking in another one that's I guess the same in any other conference. So just be aware of that. It's a 3-day event, and it's also we have workshops that are 5 hours, so you will have to register to those multiple sessions as well, so just be aware of that. And we are very excited to share the keynote speakers or key story speakers. Again, sticking to the ResBaz value, we found the key story a really inspiring moment for researchers and the new generation of researchers. So some of our key stories speakers will be also sharing their experience, the journey, how, what they've done to get to where they are, the tools they use, the partnerships, as well as the important outcomes in their research. So now others will be talking as well as the tools and the current programs and research they're working on. So it's a mix of experience. And Rashina Hoda, for example, will be also taking an opportunity to launch her book. It's an inspiring book as well. So yeah, we have a very diverse program and an opportunity for researchers in many disciplines to join and get a sense of what is currently happening across disciplines. So yeah, we're very, very excited about what is happening. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you both for telling us a little bit about your upcoming ResBaz events. At this point, I'll switch over to a Q&A. So this is an opportunity for you to ask any questions you have of either or both Maca and Juliana. I can see there's already, there are some messages in the Zoom chat. So you're welcome to type your message in the Zoom chat if you have a question there. Or you can also unmute if you would prefer. So, what are your questions? We did also get some questions in the registration form for this forum. So we can start off with Ellen,
I've
if you've
also got a question, Meirian, when you're ready.
yes, go ahead. I'll let
It's
you
kind of
start.
specific, just for Macarena. I have seen in the program that we Arnett have got a spot, and I need to organise my travel to know
Yes.
now that I know, because I wasn't sure we're in the program, but there's nothing in the slot that has the description of the workshop in it. So I'm just wondering what's happening there, because I haven't had any
Yes.
contact.
Yes. This year, I have to say, it has been a bit of a challenge. Mainly because I've started QCIF 6 months ago. And I've never really organized ResBaz. So it definitely has been a little bit tricky in terms of the coordination. So I apologize for that. And we will definitely get in touch with you soon. I think there might be some miscommunication there. So I'll definitely get in touch with you, Sarah. And I saw that you were in the chat. So were you in the room? So yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
good, no problem. Yeah, because I just I think I might have proposed a couple of different options.
Yeah.
So I just need to know what it is exactly that you want us to do, and then we can get that blurb up and I'll be prepared.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
Great, thank you. And speaking of communication, Juliana, I haven't got back to you, but those changes in the schedule are fine. We'll be all right. I'll get
Thank you so
organised.
much for confirming that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
I guess I'll also take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. ARDC is a national sponsor, not just the monetary contribution, but Liz has been an amazing tool for this to happen and for me not to lose my head. So yeah, it's been amazing contribution altogether, and to you, Meirian, Ellen, as well as Arnett, DDN, and Gal. Amazing. And NCI is a big sponsor as well, with multiple workshops being delivered. So we're really, really grateful to have the opportunity to have you all as a sponsor. So thank you.
Yes, we really appreciate it. Sorry.
I was going to just pass over to Kit. You've said that you've got a question.
Sorry, me? Look, it's the world's
Yes.
most simple question for Juliana. The ID, your ID when you register that you need to further register into sessions, all I can find is a ticket number on my receipt, but I'm not able to work out what to do with that. Is that just me? Is that the interface? It's probably just me.
No, it's not you. It's our backend. That is because the program just got released. The backend, like the Monash registering system for the sessions, is still work in progress. So I was really aiming to have it ready before today or before this session, but yeah, it's not that we can control it. So the ResBaz website is something we can control, and our amazing team, it's keeping that up to date. But with the Monash registration portal, it's something that we collaborate and liaise with different business unit. So they're working on that so we can have it ready. You will receive an email kit once that it's available for you to register to each session.
Wonderful.
Apologies.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Better next year. Thank you.
Emily Barker has just put in a question about thinking about trying to restart ResBaz in WA after we've had a great Carpentries Connect session here. How have the Queensland and Vic ResBazzes been funded, and how have you managed to spread the load between institutions, or is it all the one institution dealing with organisations?
Oh, that's a good question, and a hard one to answer. Yeah, I think that it has been a little bit challenging. I think it's different probably in the case of ResBaz Victoria, because with ResBaz Queensland, QCIF has sort of taken the load of the main sort of coordination. So things tend to be a little bit more streamlined. I think it's different probably in other ResBazzes, because the different years are different sort of hosts, and that tends to, for what I know or what I've heard, is that tends to bring a little bit of complication. So it's always good to have some sort of one point of contact and one sort of main sort of coordination. I think would you agree, Juliana? Probably,
well,
yes.
It's hard for me to comment just yet because it's our first time. But
yeah, first time.
Because I didn't know how it was working at Queensland, we thought that it was, all peace and love, and it was like, oh, it's, QCIF time, it's ACU time. So We actually at Melbourne, at Victoria, we would like to sort of get the ball rolling and get other institutions in Victoria interested in rolling, and just get like a ResBaz community and where institutions take turns to run it. It is a big role, a big job to host ResBaz. It's probably, as we were discussing it before, it's kind of underestimated all the work that is needed to host a conference like ResBaz. So it will be really good not to lose the momentum, get the ball rolling, and get our other institutions involved and find the best way to share costs and responsibilities, because it's a huge task.
Yeah, and I think that moving forward, I think in the case of Juliana and myself, because we're both new and never done it before, I think that there really is a case for next year to actually approach sponsors on a coordinated way. So just to make sure that I think national sponsorship like ARDC offers is so good, and it's so beneficial for every single one of the ResBazzes. So yes, it's great that you have your personal contacts, but I think that sharing that, it would be amazing. Oh, and then would you consider a national ResBaz? Oh, that is the the $1 million question, and that's something that actually we will be discussing at eResearch next week, and we will be talking about it, because I feel like there is definitely a case for it, but it is finding that balance between the good thing about ResBaz is so grassroots. So if it becomes national, will it change the vibe? That is sort of the main question about the case of a national ResBaz, and how do we do it? How do we make sure that it remains from researchers to researchers? So yeah.
I will just continue answering to Maria's and whoever else has a question regarding the cost. So it's the $40 registration that covers the 3 days, the 3 days of the conference and multiple sessions, of course, as well as morning tea, lunch, and afternoon tea for the 3 days. And we have the poster session and networking session on the first day. That's also covered in the registration. Thank you.
Just to follow on from that, I think there's a question about any waivers or considerations for a waiver.
At the moment, we have it only with the volunteers that we gratefully received. We had lots of volunteers that registered their interest, and that's the waivers we have so far approved.
On ResBaz Queensland, it's the same. So we do have a limited amount of volunteer tickets because this year sponsorship has been a challenge for ResBaz Queensland specifically. So, but we'll find a way. However, whatever happens, we want as many people to attend, and we don't want the cost of living being like a barrier for people to attend. So.
Thank
So
you.
contact
I'll
us.
also
Yes. Contact us if you do.
Yes. We'll put the contact information up again as well at the end.
Thank you. Yes, please.
As well as the QR code links so that you can find more information as well. I just wanted to voice Emily's comment about Western Australia, where they're considering approaching the early and mid-career research communities at each of the universities in WA, because they have a bit of funding for events, and early and mid-career researchers really benefit from ResBaz. I have to agree with that.
If you have funding, use it. That's what I would say.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and something that I forgot to mention is important is the role of the committee is so important. I'm so grateful to all the people involved in ResBaz Queensland. Actually, I have a shout out to do right now to Stefan, who's here, who has been instrumental in getting the program up. Yeah, that really embodies the spirit of ResBaz, as all of the different universities sort of working together to build this program, and I'm just extremely grateful for them and for their knowledge and for their guidance. So
we've just had some questions that came through the order form. Someone has put a comment about data quality of existing database, for example, the accuracy and completeness. Is the person that asked the question on the call? And I guess if not, have you got any comments?
Ellen, do you mind repeating the question?
There was just a comment about data quality of existing databases, for example, the accuracy and completeness. Unfortunately, that was
about previous attendees.
I'm not too sure. It was just a comment that was put in for more information. I was hoping the person was on the call, but it looks like they might not be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to.
That's okay. They can reach out if needed. Another one is, how can I get the most out of ResBaz?
How to get the most of it? Coming. Well, that's the one. That's the first one, definitely. Just coming to, and really plan it, because it's a long. I think for Juliana it's 3 days. For us it's 2 days. But really plan what you're going to do and be very strategic about what are the sessions that you will be attending and the ones that you're not. Because, for example, as Juliana mentioned, some sessions actually require the 2 days. So they're like, it's Python, for example, that one is the whole conference, basically. So if that's what you want to do, then stick to it. Don't change your preference. Stick to it. So be strategic. Network, talk to everyone. We will be having also a marketplace at lunchtime, so you can talk to the different organizations and make the most, basically, of what that is available for researchers. And yeah, just have fun. Because that's the spirit of ResBaz. Just we're all coming here to learn and to have fun. Yes.
Yes, I guess the same echoing what Macarena just said, but we also have the poster session, and that's still open if you want to register. That's a great way of getting involved and make the most of the conference, sharing your challenges, the tools you're using, or the tools you need help with, software, coding, anything. So that's a great way as well of getting involved and getting the most of the conference. The great thing about ResBaz is that the poster session is just not the typical scientific poster session. It's also a way to share difficulties you're having with your research, your tools, program. So that's a very, very, very good way of getting the most of it. And also, each of our break sessions is a networking space. So it's a networking and morning tea, it's networking and lunch, and networking and afternoon, as well as a networking and the poster session. So that's also a way of getting the most of it and talk to people from different disciplines, different career levels. And yeah, so that's definitely a good way of making the most of the conference.
Thank you. That leads in nicely to another question that was asked is, how can I get involved? So you mentioned the posters. I know you've also got presenters and volunteers. What does that look like? What are all of the different ways that people can get involved?
Well, you've mentioned pretty much all of them, which is great. But I would say that maybe now that we are like 2 weeks away from ResBaz, I think that maybe in terms of getting involved, if you're a volunteer, if you're looking at volunteering at this ResBaz, I would actually try and find what is it that you like doing and that you're good at it. So, for example, we're always looking for people who are good at social media, if they want to volunteer, if they're good at photo taking, or if you have your strength and something that you enjoy. And yes, we would love that. And then for future ResBazzes, as Meirian mentioned, this is for researchers, from researchers to researchers. So if you find that you are actually, you could do a session next year, just let us know and we will definitely take account of it. We understand that there's going to be so many people from very different disciplines and different areas, and if you want to share your knowledge, that is the opportunity to do it. So try to identify definitely what you can bring to potential future ResBazzes or next year, because we will start our planning probably very soon after finishing this one. So yeah.
We've just got a question through the chat. Are the programs the same in Victoria and Queensland?
No. They're very different. I suppose that it's because we have different relationships and different sort of topics. So yes, I think that's probably why they're so different. Different universities, different strengths, different areas.
Correct. Yeah. And but still, I guess something important I got from Liz and the looking at previous ResBaz is that their core values, and that's pretty much what we try to stick to. But bringing the essence of each institution, because even though it's a ResBaz Victoria and it's open to all Australia, as Macarena said, each university have their strengths and their disciplines that kind of lead. So yeah, it's different program, but some sessions might look similar.
Mm-hmm.
We've had another question about what are some of the challenges you have had in organising your first ResBaz?
Yay!
Yay!
I guess I mentioned it before, and is that we were told that ResBaz is a big conference. I think we do not that mention the word big. We are not that underestimated the conference, but I think my biggest takeaway from this conference is that it needs a person, at least one person that works full time for the conference, for the preparation of the conference. It's a full on. It is a very informal conference, knowledge sharing, this and that, but it still requires a lot of preparation. I've been involved in multiple conferences, scientific summits with international delegates, but this is lots of work, has a lot of legs and arms, and you gotta keep them all together. So I think my biggest challenge was that I have a wonderful team I'm working with, the Logistic Organizing Committee. They're beautiful, and same for the Program Organizing Committee, working with the directors and associate directors and other scientists. But still, all of us have other 1,000 things to do, and this definitely needs a person full time. So yeah, if some of you are there wondering why I didn't reply on some of your emails, it's because I'm doing ResBaz most of the time since the prep started. So yeah, it's a full on, but it's a beautiful, beautiful initiative. I don't want to scare anyone. I just want to suggest get at least one person from the team that is full time, but it's a wonderful initiative to work on. So hopefully we can continue in Victoria doing it every year.
Yes, I completely agree. I think at least full time for maybe like the 2 months before heading to ResBaz. But definitely, yes. I think that my biggest challenge that I face is that ResBaz is also built on a lot of trust with different organizations and trust and connections. As someone who is very new to the research infrastructure space, very new to the skills development space, it's very hard to actually break into those networks and those groups. So especially in terms of sponsorship, my biggest challenge that I face is that people don't really, they're like, well, why would I give money to you? Who are you? Basically. So as you know, the people who are at ResBaz, who have worked with ResBaz before Queensland, you know that Mike Crow, he was like the heart and soul of ResBaz. So fitting those shoes is very, very hard. So yeah, it's all about building trust and relationships, and I feel like that definitely has been, for me, my biggest challenge. And as Juliana said, it is an amazing job. I enjoyed it tremendously because the people that work in the committee are so committed and so passionate about it, and they love it, and that energy is very infectious. So I'm really excited about it, but it definitely has some challenges, at least for someone very new to this space.
Perfect. We did have a few more questions or comments on the order form. Two of them were asking about, well, the first one is the program for Queensland ready yet?
Yes.
Yes.
It is ready. But yeah, we have to still do some tweaks, like Sarah said. We have to really like work on those some of the blurbs and all of that. But the core is.
And another question was around synchronous sessions and the program of events. Again, in a similar vein, I think you've already sort of discussed that with, again, maybe emphasizing the synchronous events. I don't know if you want to make a comment on that, either of you.
Oh, and like the not booking simultaneous events or events at the same time. Yeah, you have to be very careful with that. Like I said, be strategic about where the sessions that you're gonna go. Because some of them they'll just take the whole conference. And you don't want to leave halfway. So
yes, it's tricky to decide. Sorry,
Victoria
Juliana.
that's okay. Victoria has just like 1 or 2 workshops that are 5 hours. So it will be like a day and a bit from the second day. But yeah, you will get a pop-up message once the registration for each session is portal is ready. You will get a pop-up message if you try to book multiple sessions, like happening in parallel. So that should be fine.
And then I believe the last two comments/questions that were on the order form. One is mentions open to understanding multiple pathways. So it sounds like people are interested in exploring the different pathways and events that are happening within both ResBaz events. And then also some interest in innovative research methods and methodologies in my field. So I'm sure you'll be covering lots of different fields of research, and there'll be lots of innovative methods shared and interesting talks to go to. So thank you for answering those questions, and thanks to everyone who submitted questions as well. Since this is our first, sorry, I'll just say, if you do have any other questions, feel free to continue sharing them in the chat or follow up with us afterwards. Since this is our first National Skills Forum, we thank you all for joining us, and we would love to get some feedback. So please complete our short feedback survey. We've got a link shared in the chat. Thank you, Ellen. And let us know how we did. It is an anonymous survey and it should only take a few minutes. Not all the questions are compulsory, but we really value your feedback on how it went, how we can improve in the future as well. We're also especially interested in any topics or ideas that you have for future National Skills Forums. And I'll also give our live audience a little bit of time to complete that survey now, so you can either access the QR code or the link in the chat. And if you're watching the recording, please pause the video now so you can also respond to our survey. Thank you. All right. So thank you for completing the survey. There are a couple of other things that I'm excited to share with you. So more events to let you know about. One of them is International Data Week 2025. So you're all invited, and we're excited to be hosting in Australia next year. So this is a global event, which brings people from countries all around the world, and it doesn't happen every year. So I think of it like the Olympics, but for data. This event will be held in Brisbane. So we'll be joining Maca again in sunny Brisbane. And it will bring together researchers, data professionals, policymakers, and more to celebrate and advance the role of data in science and society. You can register your interest in attending and get updates via the link in the chat. There's also another link in the chat mentioning the koala competition. So this has just been announced recently. It's a competition where you can take a photo of yourself with a koala in an iconic setting. Now, not all of us necessarily have easy access to a koala in our backyard. So you can use a paper cutout, a fun little furry friend, or I've also been informed that use of AI is permitted. So the prize for the competition is full registration to International Data Week. So it is worthwhile. All right, I'm going to reshare those links and QR codes for both of our ResBaz events again. So you can find out more information and register to attend. I'll also prompt at this point, Maca, you mentioned there is a LinkedIn page for ResBaz Queensland.
And a Mastodon.
And
an
Mastodon.
Instagram. And an Instagram as well, because we'll be posting Instagram. I think we'll do some Instagram stories on the day.
Wonderful, thank you. And Juliana, would you like to share any other, or repeat any links?
Yes, so we have the LinkedIn, not the X or Twitter. Sorry, I'm not over the names changing there. Twitter. So I will share it in a sec. I was actually looking for it. It's in the previous slide that we had there, but I'm gonna share it here as well, so it's easier for everyone to take it.
And while you're doing that, I want to sincerely thank our presenters today. It was really wonderful to hear from both of you. I am very impressed by all of the effort that I know is going into organising these events. And thank you for your time, taking time today to come along to this and talk to everyone. Juliana also mentioned that we'll be uniting next week at eResearch Australia, and we hope to see some of you there as well. If you do see us, please come along and say hi to us. Let us know if you have any questions, and get in touch via email if you have follow-up questions or would like to get involved with the ResBaz events. You can also contact the ARDC via contact@ardc.edu.au. Those email addresses again are in the Zoom chat. And Sarah says, yes, I agree. Thank you for all the efforts and energy. ResBaz is a great event, really worth it for everyone, and see you there.
Thank you for that endorsement. That's really nice.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
It's very nice. Thank you. And something that I find it funny, both ResBazzes organized by South Americans. There you go. So it's going to have a
Good
South
fact.
American feel.
Thank you. And thank you very much. Again, thanks everyone for coming along today. Please use the QR code to subscribe to the ARDC Connect newsletter to get notifications about upcoming events of interest. And you can also follow us on platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube, where we'll be sharing today's recording. You can also visit our events page to find information about upcoming events like ResBaz, International Data Week, and future ARDC National Skills Forums. And speaking of, we've got the next one lined up. So today was our first National Skills Forum, and we hope to see you at our next one, which will be a wrap-up of the eResearch Australasia Conference. It will again be online at the same time on a Wednesday, the 4th of December. So for more information and to register, please follow the link or the QR code provided. And we hope to see you there. Thank you very
Thank you
much
so much.
for joining today's forum, and
Thank
take
you.
care.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.